Hello and welcome to Bradstreet CPA's video tax tip of the week. My name is Lance Bradstreet and thank you for joining us today. If you're new to the video tax tip of the week series, welcome. And if this isn't your first one, thank you for coming back. For those of you who are new, we do these in conjunction with an email tax tip of the week series that we put out every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. And you can go back and read some of those on our website, which is bradstreetcpas.com/blog. And today's tax tip of the week email is about some of the upcoming 2011-2012 tax law changes, and it also discusses some of the things that aren't going to change, which are always important to keep an eye on as well. With that in mind, things are always changing. This is coming out December 21st, 2011. So believe it or not, we still have 10 days for things to change. And I can tell you from past experience, they quite possibly might. So we're going to try really hard to keep you up to date on any of those changes that come through the pipeline as we can. Back to today's Tax Tip of the Week email series. Some of those things that have changed as you're getting together and you're organizing all your year-end stuff, all of you business owners out there who take business mileage as a deduction, keep in mind that 2011 was a split business deduction year in that your mileage that you drove from January to the end of June is deductible at 51 cents a mile, and the mileage that you drove from July 1st to 12/31 is deductible at 55.5 cents a mile. So you need to do kind of a dual calculation on those, split them up. They do it exactly halfway through the year, so they make it somewhat easy, but it's an additional fantastic deduction to go ahead and take. Talking about organizing your things at year end kind of segues into what I want to touch on in the video tax tip of the week today, and that is talking about a question that I get a lot at this time of year, and that's a question of what should I keep to document my deductions? Do I really have to keep all my receipts? The answer is yes. The more receipts, the more invoices, the more documentation that you can keep to show what those deductions were should it come up in an audit situation, the better. The IRS has made it clear that a credit card statement that shows just kind of a blanket dollar amount to one business will not suffice. And the thinking there is, let's use an example of you go to an office supply store, and in that office supply store you spend $200. On your credit card bill, it's going to show that you spent $200 there. What it's not going to show, and what the IRS would like to see, is an itemization of exactly what was bought at the office supply store. And what they're looking for is they want to make sure that all those expenses were truly business deductions and there weren't personal items being purchased in there that should not have been deducted. And in some cases, they will throw out the deduction. They will not allow you to take the entire thing, even though you should have maybe deserved 100% of it or 90% of it or 30% or whatever it may have been. Without a receipt, most times there is no deduction. So what I advise people is keep the receipts, keep the invoices, keep the things associated with the business deductions you're taking. Possibly if you're paying for them on a credit card or a check register, staple everything together at the end of each month and you have 1 month's itemization, documentation there if it ever were to come into question. Another big thing on the receipt end is I always advise people, especially when you're doing your business lunches and entertainment, to go ahead and document on the receipt who was at the lunch, what kind of business items were discussed, etc. Again, we're going back to the more documentation you can have, the better, and we wouldn't want a receipt for an expensive business or entertainment lunch to ever come into question as to who was there. It's hard to remember these things 3 years down the road for anyone. Another pushback I get oftentimes is, well, Lance, a lot of times these receipts are printed on paper that fades or goes away over time. And that's a real issue. What I advise is if you have the capability to go ahead and scan those receipts in at the end of the week, at the end of the month, if you have enough receipts, maybe at the end of the day, to an external hard drive, or maybe put them in the cloud, someplace safe where if it does come up in an audit, which remember in an audit it's going to come up several years down the road most likely, you'll have it available for that documentation that's required. So that's all I have for you today. If there's any questions, any comments that you'd love to share, we'd love to hear from you. Again, our website is bradstreetcpas.com. And my personal email address, should you have any of those questions that you want to address in a non-public forum, is lanceb@bradstreetcpas.com. We'll see you next week. Thank you.